dreams are the way in which our subconscious is talking to us constantly. Is the way in which all our subconscious express and talks to us and show us what is there. To write down or to record our dreams day by day is a tool that will help us to communicate easily with our subconscious. So of course there is a lot of people that says I don't dream, but that's not like that. We all dream. The only problem is that we don't remember. And that's a different thing. Because usually when we dream is the moment where we are relaxed the most. Okay, so it's not by the end of dreaming that, because you are waking up. Eventually, you are starting to wake up. So what is really happening is that we usually dream several times during the phases where you relax the most when you dream. Those are the specific moments when you really dream. I will give you some advice or some tool to maybe remember your dreams, which is around 30 minutes before you go to sleep, drink a lot of water. A lot of water. Because for sure, your body will say suddenly when you are relaxed the most, like, now, go to the bathroom. And for sure, in that moment, you will be dreaming. So these are just some tools, and with the time and practice, you will be able to connect and to communicate with your subconscious. All these tools are because during all this month of Scorpio, we will be working with the subconscious. So this is, by dreaming, is the best way to communicate with that subconscious, because in the subconscious, all the information that I have within, it shows itself as it simply is. No mind, no interpretation, subconscious just show up. So that's why we have to practice. So dreams, creativity, traumas, fears, all of that will just appear. Just this. Don't try to understand why, what are the meanings of the dreams. Just write them down or just record them. That's it. You have to communicate with the subconscious, so no mind involved. We will have time another moment whenever you feel to try to figure out what those dreams mean, but without mind, just write it down, allow the dream to come to you. You start to communicate, okay? No mind in it. The reason why I say don't think about specifically what is the meaning of the dreams, because that is to put a mind on that, to think about that, like to put a goal with your mind in the dream. And in order to understand a dream through the subconscious, we will use the tool which is the topic for today, which is intuition. The reason why we are going to talk about intuition and what is intuition, we have to understand that intuition is something very related with the water signs. Like we have these three signs of water, which are Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. So this means that basically these three signs are the most intuitive of the whole group of 12. And the easy way to understand this is with this example. If you have a very high noise in the air, it will maybe reach a kilometer or a little bit more. It will reach a few, but in the air, it spreads, the sound spreads wider and it just disappears faster. But in the water kind of pushed the waves. So a whale, a dolphin is able to communicate, to talk through many dozens of kilometers. So this means that in water, the vibration arrives faster and farther than in the air. The reason why these signs they say they're more intuitive is because as water, they can perceive, like, their five senses. They're more fine. They're more refined. For us, intuition would be like like feel something that is happening way far away, very far away, or something that will happen, and that you kind of feel it, you perceive it. So it's like if the water signs, they have very very good designed senses, that they can perceive things way farther than the other ones. So when we say about intuition, sometimes we relate this like as another senses, like the sixth sense, the sixth sense, for example. But it's not that. What really happened is that the people that is very sensitive and intuitive, it's not that they have a sixth or seventh senses. Is that they are very they're more sharp. It says, yeah. Well, the five senses for those people are more sharp. They are more specific. Like you have low vibration and high vibration. Okay, so the high vibration will be more refined, and the low vibration will be more hard. Okay, so this high vibration, okay, would make a very refined senses. So it's not that we have more senses, is that we use the five senses, but very high in vibration, like acute. Thank you. Like very sharp and acute. So so because of this, you can perceive things that are very high in vibration, which other ones cannot feel. Hmm? But it's not other senses. It's the five senses in a different level of vibration. So basically, the intuition is related with this refining of the senses. A lot of people ask and usually say, I how is possible? How can I talk with my guides? How can I listen to them? How can I see other realities? How can I feel other dimensions? How is possible to do that? And the reason why we don't accomplish that is because we think that to feel in another dimension, you need another senses. You need another sense that is beyond the five senses, like a gift. But nobody has a gift, really. What people is using to connect with other dimensions are the five senses, but refined. So it's not a gift for some people. All of us have the same tools. We can all use those tools, but we are just thinking that this is something that I don't have and other people have. And it's not like that. So how can I use my senses then? So I have to refine my senses. I have to use my senses, refine very deep my five senses in order to be able to do that. And how can I refine them? Well, you have to practice with them. You have to practice each one of your senses by separate. So you need to touch again and perceive the reality with your touch much more deep. You have to smell better. You have to taste and enjoy the taste of things. You have to learn how to listen. You have to learn how to see, to contemplate reality, the colors, everything. When you start to use your senses much more refined, then you will be able to feel other dimensions. So for sure you have heard some other people that maybe say this is, some people has a gift, some people doesn't have a gift, or everything's like kind of separate, like one dimension, the other dimension. But it's not like that. It's not really. It's not like that. Everything is one thing. Everything is connected. So it's not that you have to have the gift from, or that some people have the gift and you don't have it. The only reality is that those people maybe they have more active the ability to perceive in one way. Like some people knows how to listen, so they are really good musicians. Some other people know how to touch, but other ones knows how to make numbers. So, but we all have the same. We all have um, the same tools, which are the senses. So um, it's not about the other one has this and I don't have it. It's about the other one can perceive it and I can't yet, but I have the same tool. The good example would be like, for example, I have here a piano in my room. And imagine that 8 billion, we are too many humans, 8 billion people that we have in the world today. Imagine that each one of us has a piano at home. Some people will play the lower notes, some people the higher notes, some people will play rock, some people will play classic, some people will just touch a note, down, 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 constantly the same. I don't know. And some people won't touch any because nothing. But we all have the same piano. We all have pianos. So I can learn how to play the piano. I can do it. We have it. So now imagine that you have this piano and you want to learn how to play the piano. And here comes intuition. Intuition would be the ability to perceive the next notes that you have to play, even if you are not playing a song that you have no idea about which song. You just the water signs, they will just feel it, they will just touch, and it doesn't matter if it makes noise or whatever, they will just feel it, and that's it. So by feel you will resound, you will resonate with the song even if it is not a song. So eventually you will know exactly what note comes next, because by feeling you just perceive where to go and you are not thinking about it. The air signs, they basically are thinking, they have all in the mind, so they are thinking constantly if they are doing it right or not. The fire signs, they are thinking constantly, I want to listen, I write this song, I want it now I want to hear it perfect now. And the earth signs, they would have a big book in front saying, oh, this is A, this is B, B, that would be earth. So the water signs, basically, they will just flow, they will just perceive, and that's intuition. Intuition is the ability to perceive what is coming next without expecting anything, just feeling it. So what intuition means? Intuition comes from the words in and tuere in Latin, and tuere means like to watch, to contemplate, to observe. So in tuere means to be in the process of contemplation, to be in the concept, to be in the process of contemplation. So basically, intuition is to observe yourself, not to take action, but to perceive. That's it. So the process of intuition takes us to the depth. As we spoke yesterday, this higher being that is observing and watching everything, it can only watch, it can only see. It sees things in the outside, but it cannot pre-visualize the things. It can visualize the reality, but this being cannot pre-visualize. And what it is to pre-visualize is to not to see what I have in front, but is to close my eyes and wonder by resonance, by vibration, what is the action that that thing is going to take. And the only way in which I can do that is by feeling and imagining. So intuition is to understand, okay, that everything is in such a way connected. So the best way to understand this is if you are watching the world outside, when you see a wave going there in the ocean, all the things that you will see is a wave moving forward. But when you feel the ocean, you will feel that that wave that is going there is gonna come back to me. goes and back, okay? And that's intuition. How can I do to activate my intuition then? So I have to feel with each one of my senses, much more refined, to practice, to feel with my refined senses, going to the matter, to the depth, to the dark, where I can practice the senses. Now, you may realize that nature, the universe, what it does is to say, hey, in order to activate the potential of your five senses, you need to feel more, to perceive more. So the reality starts to push and press these five senses so it could feel more and more and more. So as much pressure I can feel, I will be able to activate even more my ability to feel. This concept of awakening the potential of the senses takes us to understand that the way in which we can activate as much as possible the way we feel is with pressure. So in ancient times, to feel a lot of pressure is to have a weight very heavy on us. So in Rome, they would say that we are under iron, okay, like a very heavy iron receiving the pressure. And this was called sub ferrum. Sub ferrum means under the iron. And now we say that suffering. Basically, we suffer in order to activate the potential of our senses. So I describe also this process in the blog with the Calvary. The Calvary is a Latin word that means skull. So it means to go deep to the bone. So whoever is living a Calvary, like humans are living a Calvary, is like go deep into the bone, to the feeling. And you know why basically humans suffer? Why we have to suffer? It's not because the universe is saying humans must suffer in order to awake its potential. No. Suffering is a choice, it's an option. And why is an option? Because the reason why humans suffer is because instead of being who they are supposed to be to activate their own potential, who they have to be, they are escaping constantly from their own potentials, and they are trying to live the lives of others. So you just run away from your own self, trying to live the life of others. And that's what creates suffering. It's simply as that. And whoever is trying to escape from their own potential, they create suffering in others. This is why nobody can take you out from the suffering. The only one able to take you out from the suffering is your own ability to become more intuitive. So this is why we have to pay attention to our dreams, because all the things that we push away when we have this intuition and we say, no, I shouldn't do that, you put it all in darkness. So it's now all in the subconscious. So this is why we have to pay attention to our dreams and talk to them in order to hear them. Today we are related to the third eye. So our topic for today is vision. Let's go to the very point of the third eye. Talking about the evolution. Our bodies has been designed to survive in this environment, to adapt to the environment where we are, where we live. So in order to adapt, we have to know, to realize the distances, where are the enemies, where are a place to hide, where is the food. So we have to know how to move in this environment. So some beings evolved in a way in which they can perceive by the touch, by this, like the cat, the mustache of the cat, to perceive the vibration around. So they evolved on feeling this vibration. Other ones by the touch. Other ones used the hearing. and the sound. So they would create like this sonar. So the objects would be reflected like a echo. So in this sonar, they would know where are all the things around. And another ones used some cells that were very sensible to the light. So this light that was going all around, captured by these cells, you can measure the distance of the objects and the size of the objects around you. Okay, so this is how some animals evolved in using the sight to perceive the photons, so you can measure the distance around you. So as much these cells, these photosensible cells evolve, they will be perceiving different frequencies of this wave of light. So the light can be in different frequencies, so you start to perceive these different frequencies, and you now can see colors. So the eyes starts to evolve, so they can perceive not only the distances of the things and the shapes of the things, but also the colors of the things. In this evolution of seeing, of watching things with our eyes, we started to evolve as mammals, and to perceive not only more colors, but also to develop our brain to perceive much more data than only the colors. So this is how the humans became intelligent. And that's the difference that we have from the animal kingdom. Okay, we became intelligent. So now we will try to understand what is intelligence, so we could understand why our way of seeing also has changed. Intelligence comes from the word inter, that is between, and ligere, that means to read. So intelligent would mean to read between lines. Okay, so the thing that we have different from other animals is that we can interpret things, that we can give a meaning to the things, that we can give a concept or understand concepts behind the things that we see. Like, for example, a lot of people would recognize that the color red is not only red, but also represents stop or danger. And if we see the color green, it would mean you can keep moving, it's okay, it's healthy, whatever. Okay, so we give a meaning behind the things that they are. That's why we are intelligent. We can read between lines. Like in poetry, you have a poem, but what the poem is describing is not exactly what it's saying. It's a concept behind that you have to understand behind it. So the relation that we have between the intelligence and the sight is that as we evolved trying to interpret with intelligence all the reality, we needed more and much more information, data, to understand the environment. So we need to capture the shapes, the colors, the depth, everything that we have around, so we could perceive exactly or specific information. So this is what makes us intelligent. So intelligence is the ability to interpret concepts that are behind the things that I can see. So there are many kinds of intelligence. You can use any intelligence, but they all means exactly the same. It's not only about thinking. Intelligence is interpretation of concepts. So through billions and billions of years of evolution, we designed 3 different ways in which we receive and capture data from around, from the environment. The first one would be the subconscious, the second one the unconscious, and the third one the conscious. To picture how these 3 are, we can see that there is a big sphere, which is the subconscious. Then we have a smaller one inside, the unconscious, and a very tiny one in the center, which is the conscious. So those would be kind of the size, so we can picture how they are. I would say like the 70% of all the data that is coming to us, that we perceive from the environment, the 70% of it would be absorbed by the subconscious. And this is something useful. This is something useful because through thousands of years of evolution, millions of years of evolution, the body, remember, needs to save energy. So in order to save energy, it evolved in a way in which it says, I won't make you waste energy on capturing data that is not useful for your consciousness, for what you are doing. So I will let the subconscious to be in charge of all that information. So you don't have to think about it all the time. So that's why the subconscious is in charge of most of the data that you receive. So one of the things we would say, like, we naturalize these things, and we say, oh yeah, there's all around me there are things like there's a bed, there's a table, there's water, there's this screen and people commenting. But all this information and everything that I have around, all this data is not perceived by you, because otherwise you would be like constantly thinking about everything. Even the air you're breathing, each time you have to breathe, the liver working, the intestines working, the heart beating, all the data that is inside, that is around, all that. Imagine if you have to think of everything that is happening constantly. You won't be able to live. So that's why the subconscious is absorbing all that information for you. So the next level will be the unconscious. The unconscious is the other way in which you store information. And that would be, for example, when I am talking right now, I'm speaking here about these concepts, and you're not thinking about each one of the words that I say, because you already know the language. You know English or you know Spanish, so you understand the words. So you don't have to think of each word that I say. You're just capturing the concept, okay? The whole concept. All this idea, all this concept that you are having is something cultural, because you have learned the language, you know the language, so you share that data with others. And also, for example, the way in which you are absorbing and receiving information is different from each one of us. So the information the information that I am saying, depending on your family, on your beliefs, on your religion, you will be understanding this in different ways. So maybe I say one thing and many people here are understanding different things from what I say because of that. So all that data is encoded in the unconscious. So the last one, and the tiny one, will be the conscious. The conscious is the one that, for example, I'm saying something and suddenly you say, now I got it. I now get this and that, how these are connected. I know the origin of the problem, and I know now what do I have to do? How do I have to solve this? You know, it's the one that takes all this data and goes and acts specifically in what it has to do. Okay? Now let's relate this with the eyes. So, according to the site, the eyes, everything that we have in the universe, everything in the universe is light. Everything is photons, particles of photons. They are moving all around, they are creating everything constantly. So if the spirit is one in the universe, so light is a way in which the spirit is expressing itself. Okay? So light is this concept of the spirit. But then this light is perceived with different shapes and colors. These different shapes and colors would be the different frequencies. The different frequencies in which this light is moving is what we perceive as energy, and also what we call soul. So the soul is the way in which you perceive the divinity around. And this is why by the eyes you receive the spiritual light, and you perceive the soul of the universe by the sight. And this is why then you reflect it into the outside. So that's why we say that the eyes are the doors or the windows of the soul, because you are reflecting constantly this information of the soul and the spirit of the universe. So talking about the sight, when we are talking and speaking about what we see, when we point into something, watching straight to something, we are aware. So this is the conscious of ourself, the conscious watching something, okay? Perceiving something. Because you are putting your intention on watching that you have in front of you. If my two eyes are pointing in one specific spot to focus in something, so now the unconscious will be like this. So you can perceive the peripheral side, the vision of the peripheria. That you are not paying attention to that because it's not the main goal. You just know that there are things around, but it's not your main goal. It's around. And then you have the subconscious one that goes all around with things that you don't know, with things that you don't even see, like the air, like you are not seeing, okay? So your eyes are watching all of that. So we are in a time when we are talking about the awakening of the consciousness. The awakening of consciousness means that we have been sleeping and living through the unconscious for a long time, that we have been perceiving our lives through the lives of others, projecting ourselves in others. That others are guiding what we are supposed to be, what we are supposed to do, what we are supposed to see. And now the awakening of consciousness is when you go inside and start to watch what is inside of you. What is the vision from your own spirit? The gland that is related to going to sleep and wake up is the pineal gland, which is in the middle of the brain here, in the third eye. The awakening of the consciousness means that, according to this gland, that everything that we have been doing until now is by the unconscious. And the unconscious is because of other people, because of the group. So this means that I have projected my consciousness into the outside, reflecting me in the others. So it's an outer way of vision. So the awakening of consciousness would be exactly the opposite, to go within, to perceive my side, my inner side of the vision. So how can I go into the awakening of consciousness? It's not by going outside of the unconscious. It's by opening my spectrum of vision. Not only perceiving the outside, but also the inside and everything. So that would be through the subconscious. And basically, this means that it's not about to get away from the unconscious and to become conscious, is to understand the unconscious through the subconscious, because the subconscious has been storing all the information that I have been denying my whole life because I was willing to live the lives of others. Because of this, the subconscious was storing everything that I needed, but I wasn't paying attention. So in the subconscious, I can find all the clues for my wisdom. So to become conscious is not to deny the other types of conscience and become aware. No, it's to open my vision spectrum and to perceive all of it. All the information that I need to understand myself is registered, is recorded in my inner cells, in my cells, in the information that each one of my cells have, inherited by all the thousands and billions of years of all these animals and the tree of life and my family that I got until now. And it's all storage in my peripheric vision of the subconscious. So we have a lot of information that we can take from the subconscious in order to become conscious. Different ways in which we can start to activate this information. Paying attention to the dreams, of course, Also doing exercises with the eyes, making movements around in circles, up and down, and watching farther, watching closer, practicing with the eyes constantly. And of course, one of the things that I would recommend is to put yourself in front of a mirror, close to a mirror, and stay there for a while, the time you think is necessary, and watch yourself into the eyes, non-stop, constantly. And that, with the time, will awake a lot of information around from the subconscious, and it will show up, and you will start to see shapes and information that you have there in the subconscious, okay, that your body have seen, and that you have it there. It doesn't matter the time. Some people will need just a minute, some people will need 1 hour, I don't know. It doesn't matter exactly how long you are doing that. Important thing, don't be afraid doing this exercise, okay? Because they are just memories. It's not something that will come to you and blah, take you. It's not energetical. It's memory from your cells. So sometimes you remember being an animal or horrible things, but they are not coming to you. They are just memory in your cells showing through the sight, okay? So important thing, I know that in history, a lot of people have created these stories about demons and other portals and things in the mirror. So we are afraid to watch, and like Beetlejuice, and all these things. So in the unconscious, we have this image that, but they are portals. There can be something wrong. Yes, mirrors are portals, of course, and maybe there is a demon in the other side. But if I see a demon, I just say, good morning, good evening, I am here to work with myself, so hi, bye, and focus in your own self. Don't be afraid, don't keep with all these stories, even if they are true. Just don't pay attention to the bad part of it. We have to learn how to live with that. We have to go through, okay? And that's it. Don't give so much power to the stories of darkness, okay? Otherwise, you will never find your light because you are afraid, okay? So as always with respect, but never stop.